Confidence and arrogance. There's a fine line between them. They're very similar, yet they're very different. This is something that I struggled with when I was growing up. You need to understand that my identity, your identity, is built up of the history of things that have happened to you and your habits. So everything that you've done to this point makes you who you are. The things that you read, the things that you consume, the things that you eat, everything just creates who you are. So you need to take this back. When I was a child, I was a very insecure kid. I was a very insecure kid. So I was raised in a Chinese takeaway, and to go to school, I had to come out of this Chinese takeaway. And for me, that was one of the hardest things because that made me very, very insecure. So growing up, I remember when I was, not only did I have that insecurity that no one knew about, but then I was going to school and I was the quiet kid. I never used to get I was never a center of attention. I didn't want to be a center of attention, but I never got attention in general. I was like the quiet kid. I wasn't not popular at all, but I wasn't the popular kid either. So I remember seeing like the popular kids, the good looking kids, and like the strong kids, and I wasn't that kid. And so there was always like that barrier between us. So I remember when I was growing up, and when I used to see how they were or the attention that they got, I never said to myself, oh, I hate them because they're like this. I used to say, it must be cool to have that attention, or it must be nice. So I wasn't a good looking kid when I was younger, so I never used to get female attention. So I only started getting that as I grew older. But because I already had that insecurity, I didn't realize I was getting attention, so I got very awkward. I didn't understand what was going on. Like the quote says, the world is not as it is, the world is as you are. So because I was insecure and I was very shy and I didn't really trust people around me and I didn't know what their intention was, that's the way I viewed everything. So someone could give me a compliment or someone could say nice things about me, but I would take it in a negative way because I was in a negative state of mind. So growing up, and when I started to realize that, okay, I get female attention, then I started going to the gym, and even till this day, call it body dysmorphia, I still sometimes don't process that I am the person that I am today with the history or the things that I have created. So I've got a social media presence where I've generated over 400,000 followers, and sometimes I completely forget it. But before, when it was still very fresh, I feel like it gave me confidence, but then confidence turns into arrogance. Confidence is a person that knows that they're doing better, but they never think they're better because they're willing to help you and teach you how to get there. A person that is arrogant thinks they're better. They don't think they're doing things better, they think they're better, and they look down on you because they were once in that position, which is something that I will never understand, because I was once in a position where I was the kid that was in the corner, that didn't get attention, that wanted attention but never got it. So I remember saying that I want to be like this person. I remember watching Superman one time. There was a scene where he comes out of the sea and he has his shirt off, and I remember saying to myself, I want to look like him. The reason I wanted to look like him because I remember the cinema went crazy and I was like, this must be so cool. And I had no idea how I was going to do it. No one in my family trains. I had no reason to be in sports because no one ever pushed me to do it. I had no relatives that I could be inspired from. So I said to myself, I want to be like this. I printed it out, stuck it on my wall. I remember seeing people on YouTube with these ripped physiques, and I said to myself, I don't know how they do it, but I want to do it. I'm going to be like that one day. I just said it and I didn't believe it. I honestly didn't believe it. So now that I managed to apply this, and now people are saying, Brandon, like, you look so different, or now I start to get a bit of female attention, or now that guys are saying, Brandon, you're big now, you're muscly now. At first, I was still very insecure because my brain still didn't process the whole situation until it took me some time. Even to this day, I don't even take it in as such. But I remember when, now it got to a point where I was getting these compliments. I'm not the best at taking compliments, even to this day. I got to a point where I was like, all right, now I'm up a level, let me act a type of way. So I remember one time when my followers started to go up and I started to be like an influencer. I don't really like that term, influencer. I remember my auntie asked me to work at a restaurant, and I said to myself, an influencer doesn't work at a restaurant. But then I said to myself, I'm not an influencer, I'm a human. I don't value myself with followers or numbers. I value myself with my human core values. And that to me was something that I said to myself, wait, why am I behaving like this? I am putting my value on numbers which are not real. And that's going to take me away from actually helping someone, which is real, someone that I care about, and not doing something because I think I'm better because of numbers, because this society has made you think that having numbers on a platform makes you better. That's why you're completely wrong. And then one thing that keeps me grounded is that one day I could be here, the next I'm here. The next day I could be the one asking for help. And that's one thing that's always kept me grounded. And one thing, again, going back to the point of arrogance, I've never understood how people can have been once in that position, then get to where they are and look down on what they once were. It will never process through my mind. And that's what a lot of people do. That's where the fine line is, because you now come from a place where it wasn't optimal, you looked up to these people, but if you looked up to these people and hated them, then surely you don't want to have the same pattern. But then people do things differently when, for example, it translates in everything. If someone's parent beat them, they grow up to be beaters, or if someone's parents beat them, they grow up to be lovers because they don't want to repeat the same process. So I took that direction where I said to myself, I want to be like this, and I want to help people feel the same way that I feel, because I know what it feels like to be in that space. And I do believe that pretty privilege is such a real thing, and I don't think is fair, but sadly in the world that we live in, is a thing that moves the world, is a thing that moves the world. So you need to understand to sort of play around with it. That's why I always try to get myself on the level of where I once were, and I tell them, we are the same. There is nothing different about us. Because the thing I've realized, I remember going to these events. I've been invited to a few events where they invite influencers and people with high followings, and I was there at this event, and I was like, I'm nothing like these people. Or maybe there was a facade or maybe it was just an act they were playing, but when I was there, I did not feel like I was home. Everyone had this personality, everyone had this hierarchy presence, where I, in reality, I'm not a hierarchy presence. I know my values, I know what I'm worth, but I never consider myself better than anyone. Because you can have that fame and glory for now, but how long does that last? And that's one thing I've always had with me, that you need to stay grounded. And coming back from, again, a migrant household where both my parents were immigrants coming to another country to fend for themselves, that completely disregards everything that they've done, because thanks to their hard work, thanks to them, I am in the position that I'm in. They gave me everything that I wanted. Like, there was nothing I couldn't have asked for a better childhood. It wasn't the best terms. I did live in a Chinese shop and it did make me very insecure. Yes, but in their hands, they gave me everything that they could have done. So for me, it's all about percentages and intensity. Then I want to give you an example. If someone has $2,000 and someone has 200, and both of them give you $200, which one is worth more? The one that gave you $200, because that was all that he had. And that was the case for my family and many migrant families as well, that they give you everything that they have. So you can never look at other families, look at this family giving him that, because my family have always given me everything that I've wanted, and I will always be forever grateful. And that's why I work so hard, because I was not happy in the situation that I'm in, but I am very, very happy with what they've done for me. And I'm forever grateful, and I will always be forever grateful. That's why I can never look down on anyone, because that is where that's where I've come from, and that I will always be proud of that. So now looking back at when I was in this restaurant and when I was working pretty much every single day, I didn't have that normal childhood where people go out with their friends, and I was pretty much always in this Chinese restaurant. At that time, was I happy? No, I wasn't. But now looking back at it, I'm proud of it, and I'm happy that this happened. And it's just like, I see back and I see the hard work that my parents put. So that's why I can never be arrogant. That's why I am confident. I know that I've managed to get to where I am through hard work and by changing the way I think. And the reason I am confident is because I know that anyone that is in a situation can get out of that situation. All they have to do is just change the way they think and really put the work in. Put the work in, and you can get the results that you want. I can never be arrogant, think that I'm better for someone for putting in the work, and never guide someone to get there, because I've been there and I would have wanted someone to help me. So now that I'm in the position that I am, I would love to help people, and that's what I do. So that's what gives me confidence, that's what gives me life. When I help people, it fills me. That is my purpose, to help people. So it's just what gives me joy. This is why I changed the content of the direction of my content, because before it was just empty, and now I feel like I actually give value. Now I actually feel like I help people. So this is why I do what I do. So this is why I help people. If you like this video, please leave a message, a comment, please like. And if you want help, I can help you create your best version. DM me the word create to my Instagram at Sunwo_, and I will help you become your best version. Let's go.